Mad Panic Game.
Awesome!
Hello everybody, Jim here. Welcome back to Mad Panic Gaming for another epic game hunt today. I was in everybody's favorite neighborhood here in Tokyo. I was in Shinjuku on what was a pretty overcast, gloomy, kind of rainy day off and on. But I wasn't going to complain because I like Shinjuku. When I'm there, there's lots of fun stuff to do. So I usually hang out for a while. But today, one of the first things I wanted to do when I got there, I wanted to hit the Surugaya there at the Marray Annex building and look for some games. And oh boy, did I ever. Typical of Surugaya, they had a ton of games and the prices were like all over the place. If you look in the glass case, obviously it's going to break your hearts, but the stuff on the shelves, some of it was overpriced. Some of it was quite the value, but most of it was kind of like right in the middle of the road. So I had myself a damn good time digging through a whole bunch of games. So you'll see all of that in the video, and then come back at the end. We are going to take a look at my best finds of the day. Found some pretty cool stuff today. Also, I was once again joined today by my tiny little sidekick, Destiny. If you saw the last video, you saw that we were teaming up for a game hunt in Ogikubo. Same day, we made a run to Shinjuku, which is only about a 10-minute ride away. So it's pretty convenient. So she joined me today for the game hunt, looking for some stuff for herself. So always fun, always improves the game hunt in my book when you've got a sidekick tagging along, somebody to help you spot some good deals. So anyway, had a good time today, so let's roll that beautiful game hunting footage, and then we'll be back later with my finds of the day. Check this out.
Is this the episode where they say cool and sucks? I love this one. Stay tuned.
Hello everybody. Alright, so in Shinjuku now, as you can see, right outside the East Gate. Gloomy, gray day, but you know what can make a cloudy day sunny? Oh my goodness. It's Destiny, you're back again?
I am.
Didn't you get the picture last time? Like, I dropped you off God knows where, and here you are again.
Can't get rid of me that
Can't get rid of this
easily.
lady. Alright, so what are we doing?
We're going video game hunting again.
Oh my god. Yeah, so like right down that way on Sanchome, there is the Marray Annex building where they have a Surugaya. It's kind of like the old standby Surugaya. Sometimes they got a lot, sometimes they got a little, but you know, I'm not too picky today. I just want to find some okay games at maybe not too bad prices.
Got a list.
You know what? Yeah, you got a list. You always got a list, but I'm just going to wing it today. What do you think about that?
I mean, you can wing it. I'm going to be there specifically hunting. Fingers crossed they have what I'm looking for.
Well, if I'm going to wing it, I'll be your wingman. How about that? Yeah. All right, so let's go for a quick walk. We'll be there in a minute digging through some games. Boy.
Quack.
We made our way up here to the Surugaya, 5th or 6th floor, whatever it is, the Marray Annex. Looks like we got some stuff to dig through.
A few things and stuff.
You showed me some of the stuff you're looking for. I think for you, you're going to need Mr. Glass Case.
I saw Mr. Glass Case.
There's not going to be a lot of stuff you want on these shelves. But, hey, what the hell? Let's have some fun. Let's dig through some games and
dig through it.
Maybe buy some cheap stuff. What do you say? The cheap stuff.
Yeah,
We'll get the
find
cheap
some
stuff.
cheap stuff.
All right, let's do it. Let's go digging. All right. Getting started with some proper game hunting. And first up, they actually had some Xbox and Xbox 360 games, which is pretty cool. Don't see a lot of that in Japan. Some Crazy Taxi, Dead or Alive, Panzer Dragoon Orta, or whatever it is. That's cool. Mushihime-sama. Pretty damn cool. 11,500. So that puts it in like the $70 range. This game is awesome. Of course, there is a version available now, I think, for the Switch, PS4. It's obviously available digitally. But all of the cave shooters that were available on the 360 are just like fantastic, really great ports. But some of them have been handled now by like M2 and I think City Connection with some of them. Doranpachi, Diojo, Black Label, EX. Now that's all well and good. And here's 1,600 yen, super cheap on Death Smiles, which is one of my personal favorite cave shooters. I think it's the best one for beginners, just because it can be a very forgiving game, depending on what mode you're playing and what difficulty setting you're at, and you can increase your health and bombs and all kinds of stuff. So I recommend that for newcomers. Shooting club. It's got Tri-Zeal and Sizil. That's cool. Those are not my favorites, but there they are. Kind of pricey though. And then 13.9 for Odomedius Excellent, which is not cheap. Almost $100 for this one. But the Odomedius games are fun. They're basically just like another version of a Gradius style game. There's Odomedius Excellent, which got a North American release. And then there's another on the 360 called Odomedius Gorgeous, which I don't think got a North American release. But generally speaking, I like the Odomedius games. And then Death Smiles 2, Makai no Merry Christmas, but it's in this little jewel case, 2,000 yen. Of course, both Death Smiles games you can definitely get them on the Switch because I have that collection. But I think it's also available on the PS4, maybe, from City Connection, so that's cool. Some GameCube games here for us as well, with some F-Zero GX for 5,300, Wave Race, NBA Street. Those are always fun. A lot of these, you'll notice they have that little blue tag on the front. That lets you know that the actual physical game is not in the case or the box. When you go up to the register to check out, they will go behind the register and get the actual software for you. So if you come in here and you buy in bulk and you buy a bunch of these games with the blue tag in them, you're going to be up at the register for a while. But I didn't really buy all that much today. We're looking at PS1 games, starting with Gunner's Heaven. For 11,000 yen. This is a more and more uncommon one these days. This is a damn good game. It's kind of like a PS1 sort of like imitation of Gunstar Heroes. It has a similar feel to it. It's not exactly a clone. It has some like unique gameplay elements. But it's in that same vein. If you play it, you'll be reminded of Gunstar Heroes, which is not a bad thing. It's a good playing game. It's got some nice graphics and music. And some pretty solid gameplay. We've got some Tenchu games. Those are still cheap. Tronbon, Biohazard Director's Cut. And some Vampire Savior EX for 1,500, aka Darkstalkers 3. 1,100 on Clock Tower. And these are in games in particular. They're in nice shape. Always love finding PS1 games with their spine cards and everything intact. Especially when they're in these like big, like very distinctly Japanese PS1 cases. 1,100 on Biohazard. We got Clock Tower, Ghost Head, which I'm pretty sure was released in North America. Was it released as Clock Tower 3 or Clock Tower 2? I get the North American releases muddled up. We got some Rockmans as well, 30 some odd hundred, 4,200 there for X4. X6 only 1,000 yen. That's still a cheap one. That's like $6. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, 2,300. Which I actually picked up a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on a game hunt I did last month. So I'm good on that for now. This is pretty cool. 3,000 yen on Tobal 2. So if you were a fan of Tobal number 1, which was released in North America, You might be happy to find that there was a sequel released. It was only released in Japan. For the most part, it's more the same. Still a solid, fun 3D fighter with artwork by Akira Toriyama. The adventure mode is beefed up a little bit. So that's really cool. So yeah, Tobal 2. Exclusive to Japan, I believe. And then Battle Arena Nito Shinden. It's like the Virtua Fighter Kids version of Battle Arena Toshinden, and it is terrible. So don't bother. 14,800 yen on Panzer Bandit. That's about $100. Panzer Bandit, another really cool Japan exclusive PS1 game. It's a beat 'em up, and again, it's reminiscent of Guardian Heroes a little bit because you're beating up characters, you're jumping back and forth between different planes, as you can see, kind of Fatal Fury style. And you can play multiplayer. I think it's, I don't know, what, like 2 or 3 players? I forget. I think it's only a 2-player game, but it is a lot of fun. Worth playing if you haven't already. And 800 yen, super cheap, on the Rurouni Kenshin 3D Fighter, which I forget the subtitle. It's long, and I don't feel like pronouncing it. It's not a very good game, though. So if you're a Rurouni Kenshin fan, you just kind of, you were left out in the rain because the games based on are not any good. There's some Twin Bees, some Dragon Ball Final Bout 1400, which was the first game I ever imported when I was, I think, 13 or 14. Ordered it from a magazine, Gegege no Kitaro. I actually got it as a birthday gift. I got that and a mod chip. So I had my uncle, who was an electrician or like a repairman of some sort, but he installed the mod chip for me. And then I was able to finally play my Dragon Ball Final Bout, and it was, not so great, but I was happy anyway. Little personal narrative for you while we just gloss over some games here, including, because there's a bunch of RPGs right here, and then Twinbee role-playing game. This is actually my first time seeing this. I did not know there was such a game, 2800. I've never played it, hadn't even heard of it before. 1200 still on Xenogears. One of the best RPGs on the PS1, bar none. And some Anko. Alright, nice. Can't get enough Anko. A few Neo Geo games here. On CD we got Samurai Spirits RPG. Fatal Fury 3 is cool. And some World Heroes 2 Jet, I think. Which, I like the World Heroes games. They're pretty damn cool. They got a wacky cast of characters. They got an interesting premise. But we got Art of Fighting 2, we've got Samurai Showdown, I think 3, Samurai Showdown 1, World Heroes 2, and then this, I think just some PC stuff, like some MSX games, Dungeon Master, which I've never actually played like an MSX before. I have been dabbling, though, with emulating MSX games recently, like MSX and X68000, some other retro PCs. I've been sort of playing around with emulation on those. And they do have some pretty cool games. They're worth checking out if you're a retro game enthusiast. We're looking at some PS2 games here. I kind of skip over all the like dating sims and visual novel things. Not really my thing. We got Capcom Classic Collection, and then these Taito collections are cool too. This one, 13-4. I think this one's really a desirable one though. Is this the one that has Warrior Blade on it? Anyway, these like Taito Arcade Memories collections, there's like a lot of really good games on them. Like for collector's purposes, they're cool, but then you can emulate all that stuff now. We got some 15,000 on Raturgy Precious. I like the Raturgy series. I just bought actually the 2 most recent Raturgy games that were released on the Nintendo Switch. I picked up both of them. Of course, played a lot of the first game on the Dreamcast. And then it's also on GameCube. So Raturgy games actually appeared on a number of consoles, and you can still pick up the most recent ones. If you got a Switch, and I think if you got a PS4 as well, you can pick them up. 98,000, the PS2 version of Mushihime Sama, so almost as expensive as the Xbox 360 version. And then 9,400 on Twinkle Star Sprites. I think it's Le Petite Princess is the subtitle, so it's a sequel to Twinkle Star Sprites. A game I like a lot. Again, another game I played a ton of on the Dreamcast. And the sequel is pretty good too. It's just a one-on-one shoot 'em up kind of puzzle game blend, where the more enemies you shoot down, and you can chain your attacks together, you can send more enemies to your opponent's side and overwhelm them, and it's fun. It's like the only one-on-one shooter of that style I know of. Triggerheart Excelica, which is cool. Again, also on the Switch now. We got some Shikigami no Shiro 2100. And that is a really solid shoot 'em up as well. I think the sequels are on the Switch. And then we have, speaking of amazing shooters, Gradius 5. Really good shooter, handed off to Treasure for development. So it's good. I'm still like an old school fan. Gradius 2 and 3 and like Salamander. Those are still my faves. We got some more cool stuff here. Gonna wrap up this section pretty quickly though. We've got some Klonoa. That's still really cheap. Space Channel 5, $5. Forget about it. 2100 on Arcana Heart 2. That's a good price. And that's 700 on DBZ. 1800 though on Yu Yu Hakusho Forever, which I like this game quite a bit. The more cinematic Yu Yu Hakusho fighting game. Kind of like the DBZ Budokai 3 of Yu Yu Hakusho games. It's pretty damn cool. So if you've never played it, give it a shot. Decent game, especially if you like some Yu Yu Hakusho, which I do. It's always been one of my favorites. Even though I don't like anime anymore, I still like some of the classics. Then we got some other fighting games here, especially a lot of these SNK games. A World Heroes collection, I guess. We've got some King of Fighters. They had a bunch of these got released on the PS2. KOF, Samurai Spirits, SVC Chaos, all that stuff. So yeah, a bunch of games. PlayStation, PS2, Xbox. Plenty of good stuff. Prices all over the place though. But hey, we'll be right back with more game hunting. Check it out. And we're back with, look at that, a generous helping of PC Engine games. But first, some 3DO real, because everything else is fake, damn it. Police Knots, pretty cool. I think the only, well, no, not the only, like there are some okay 3DO games. But probably like my pick for perhaps the best. I mean, the Wing Commander, all that is pretty cool too. 5900 for, it's not Kabuki Clash, it's something along the lines of Kabuki Clash though, but it's a Far East of Eden fighting game where again Kabuki is like front and center because he was just a massively popular character for a while. But it's for the PC Engine Arcade, so you need a special card for it. Fatal Fury Special, Fatal Fury 2, and Ryuko no Ken 3400, aka Art of Fighting. These are some good ports of these games. Not bad at all. We come to the Hue cards, which, boy, I mean, they've got them more or less divvied up alphabetically, which is fine. R-Type 2, not bad. The PC Engine Hue card R-Type is actually split up into 2 games, which seems like kind of lame, actually. 4400 for Image Fight, which is pretty cool. And then we have like some F1. We've got SCI, Special Criminal Investigation, I think by Taito, so that's fun. Yeah, I do sometimes wish they would divvy this up by genre. It'd make it so much easier for me. But we got Gradius here, which the PC Engine version of Gradius is fantastic. In fact, all 3. There's a great port of Gradius, as you can see here. There's also a really good Hue card port of Salamander, which is awesome. It plays more or less like the arcade version. And then there's a PC Engine CD port of Gradius 2, which is fantastic. We got the Ginpei Tomaden games, which are okay. I'm not like a huge fan of those, but they're playable. Samurai Ghost, for you TurboGrafx 16 owners. 3800 on Street Fighter 2, which for a Hue card game, you must admit is pretty impressive that they were able to get this game on a Hue card. It looks pretty good. It sounds pretty good, and it plays pretty good, assuming you have a proper controller for it. So if you like the SNES and Genesis versions of Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, maybe give that PC Engine version a look. It's pretty cool. Some Xevious, Can't go wrong. This is a lovely camera angle, Jim. Thank you so much. Superstar Soldier 4600. You know, sometimes, like, you're cognizant you're holding a camera, but at the same time you're digging and you're trying to make mental notes of all the games you want to buy. I'm not a multitasker. That's the point I'm getting at. 4800 for Darius. Is it just like Super Darius or just the original Darius? But there you go. If it says Darius, it must be good. And then we got a whole bunch more. Some Bomberman 94. Yes, they kept on pumping out PC Engine games up into the mid-90s. Some Bonk and Bonk 2. 7800 on the original Bonk, though. Get out of my face, Surugaya. No, that's going up. That's shocking. And Mr. Heli, 6200. Another great game by Ira. Mr. Heli no Daiboken. Because he's on his big adventure, baby. You know that, right? Let's see. Some CD games here, including a couple of the Valis games, 3 and 4, which are pretty good. And then East 3, still 2500, so not so pricey on East 3. The East games in general. I guess those were hot sellers back in the day. So there's plenty of them around. Pretty much anywhere you go, if they have a selection of PC Engine games, probably going to have at least one East game in there, including East 4 for 4,000 yen here. So that's like 28 bucks. And East 4 is cool. It's similar to East 1 and 2. It's got nicer graphics and sound, if you ask me. 9100 on R-Type Complete CD, which is cool because, you know, decent playing, good looking game, and then it has a CD arranged soundtrack, which sounds pretty damn good. R-Type games didn't always have like the most amazing, most memorable music ever. I think the music in the Gradius games is typically better. But yeah, you give it that crystal clear CD quality sound. It's a game on a CD, people. Can you imagine? So yeah, at least, you know, they got it divvied up mostly between CD and then like Super CD-ROM and all that goodness. I'm like scanning, so I probably missed something there. So drop it down in the comments. What are you seeing? What's tickling your fancy? We got some Sega Gaga. We got some other stuff for the Dreamcast here. Dreamcast, one of my favorite consoles to collect for. 2,700 for 18-wheeler. A game I absolutely love. Loved playing the arcade version with that giant steering wheel. The Dreamcast in Japan is a funny console because there are a ton of dating sims and all kinds of stuff like that, things I could be less interested in. But then you got stuff like this, Vampire Chronicle. And you got all these great Capcom fighters. You got all these great shoot-em-ups like, speak of the devil, 5800 on Giga Wing. And this is one fantastic shooter. I prefer the first game over the second one. I feel like the first game is a more straight-up shoot-em-up, whereas the second one gets a little wacky with the gimmick of the reflector force and everything. It goes nuts with the idea of bullet hell. So the original Giga Wing, still one of my favorite shooters on the Dreamcast. 7,700 for Gunbird 2, which is another great one. You cannot argue with Psycho. A little cheaper on this copy of Giga Wing. What's going on there? Probably some damage. I'm assuming like disc damage or something like that. But yeah, more. And don't they just look so nice with their little orange spines all lined up? Some Sonic Adventure International. That makes it very special. 12,500 on Sega Gaga, which is a game I think I featured on the channel like 10 years ago. Liked it a lot. Psychic Force 2012, another game I recently picked up a copy of. I think from a book off I was at recently. A North American Dreamcast game found its way in there somehow. Spec Ops. I don't know how that works. I don't know how North American games end up. I assume that there are Japanese gamers that just imported North American games for whatever reason. I guess they weren't getting enough exclusives. They had to take some of ours. 3,300 Marvel vs. Capcom and 5,900 on Star Gladiator 2, aka Plasma Sword. A game I like a lot, and a game I think is about to pop up in that new Capcom Fighting Collection. But you know what isn't? This game right here, Kikayo, aka Tech Romancer. I don't think this has had like a re-release ever since like whenever the console, the Dreamcast version was released in like, I don't know, 2000 or something. Very cool mech fighter, like kaiju giant mech fighting by Capcom, and getting no love. You know, why not toss it into one of those Capcom fighting collections? I don't see why not. 10,500 for Bangayo. I believe by Treasure. Fun game. You know, you're in a mech suit, you fly around, you shoot things with missiles and guns and stuff, and you collect oranges. Okay, awesome. Not the best shoot 'em up on the Dreamcast, but it is pretty cool. Quite a bit of fun. Kind of a cute, charming design to it as well. So if you've never played Bangayo before, it's only 10,500 yen. Which puts it right in the neighborhood of $70, so not super cheap. And then 5,300 on Moiro Justice Gakuen, aka Project Justice, which will also be included in the upcoming Capcom Fighting Collection. As we pan around a little bit, you can see they had loose carts for Super Famicom and Famicom. I only have so much time, and my knees and back can only take so much. When I try to get down to them low to the ground shelves, you know, that's just, it's not easy on old Jim. 2,300 for some Vampire Savior, and the box version 7,100, considerably more expensive if you get it in the cool big box with the RAM expansion cartridge. And then 13,200 on X-Men vs. Street Fighter, just the standalone jewel case version. Youch. Again, that Marvel vs. Capcom collection is out now. Go ahead and get that, people. 1,800 on Fatal Fury 3. Yeah, some of these games really getting up there in price, even though there are like modern alternatives for playing them now. So again, you know, big time thank you, Capcom, for putting those collections out there. Really nifty for people. 4,500 on the game Tengoku, the game Paradise. Fun shoot 'em up. By Jalico, I believe, and it kind of lampoons like a bunch of video game tropes and things, and I like it a lot. You get a bunch of fun, like wacky characters to play as, stages inspired by like different like game genres, even flying around like arcades and fighting big arcade machines, fighting a girl singing karaoke, and as she sings karaoke, her words like materialize into physical form and attack you. So yeah, that's a fun one. Maybe put that on your list if you like some Saturn shooters. Some Sonic Jam. The radar, sir, it's been jammed. Raspberry. 10,500 for Sokyu Gurentai. Which I think many people who like a good shoot 'em up will tell you is one of the best shooters you can play for the Saturn. It blends a lot of elements from some other popular shooters at the time, but it's really well made. The graphics are fantastic, soundtrack is good, and it's just so much fun. So Sokyu Gurentai, definitely one of my favorite Saturn shooters. So if you've never played it before, then go out of your way to do so. There's also a PS1 version, and PS1 also a lot easier to emulate. So if you wanted to get something like PCSX or DuckStation, there you go. 900 on Sakura Wars Columns. I come across this game everywhere. Everywhere they got some Saturn games, that game is there, and it's always super cheap. That's still a game you can grab for about $5, so that's nice. 3,200 on Puzzle Fighter, which is cool, again, in the collections now. Road Avenger and Thunderstorm, like those old like Laserdisc games. So that's pretty cool. I think there was like one, it was like a collection that had Time Gal on it too, if I'm not mistaken. So that's all well and good. Super Puzzle Bobble. Wait, why did I throw in a Super? It's not Super, it's just Puzzle Bobble 2X. I think every game should have Super in the title. What do you think? Are you with me? Enough of this bullshit. Here we have a copy of Super Ray Earth. No, 2,700 on that. That's a fun little game as well. And the North American version, obviously way more expensive. 9,400 on Marvel Superheroes versus Capcom. That's quite pricey. It's out of the jewel case. I think the version without the box and the RAM card is like less common to come across, maybe. Narimaro's waiting to kick your ass. So there you go. Super Marvel Superheroes versus Capcom. Is this a gimmick I'm going to stick with? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how long it takes for me to annoy myself with this. And then I'll drop it. So let's see. We got some Mega CD games here. We have Super Night Trap for $1,500. That's still a game not flying off the shelves. There's modern Super Sega Classics. I like that a lot. Super whatever the hell that is. Super FHB. And some Super Heavy Nova. Fighting game, I think developed by Sega. With robots fighting. Don't you dare call it Chevy Nova. And we've got some Super Sonic CD. 4,300. My second favorite Sega CD game, by the way. Just behind Earthworm Jim Special Edition. 10,200 for Super Gunstar Heroes. Putting it in like the $70 range, upper $60 maybe. Which actually I thought it was going for more than that these days. So that's actually a nice little surprise. Alien Storm. And the original Valis, 7,700. Although the PC Engine version is better. Of that and Valis 3. 6,400. And the Valis games too. I think you can just get those. They released those as a collection as well. 8,300 on some Sonic Spinball. Which, something to know about me. I like Sonic Spinball. I like it a lot. Not a traditional Sonic game in any way, shape, or form, but I think it's awesome. Not a lot of people are huge fans of Sonic Spinball. They don't put it in the same league as like Sonic 2 and 3 and whatever. Maybe it's not as good as those by like a long shot, but it's still a game I enjoy very much. Thunder Force 3, Street Fighter 2 Dash, aka Turbo, and Samurai Spirits, but 11,300 on the Mega Drive. Samurai Spirits. They got Same 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 over there. Fire Shark. That's a good catch, Jim. That's great. Tatsujin, 5,600. There you go, aka Truxton, another fan favorite. And they've got some Daisimpu there, and some Puyo Puyo, the original Puyo Puyo, mind you. Magical Taruru Tokun, MiG. Again, when I gotta stoop down to get to those low, hard-to-reach games, that's when Jim's old knees start to act up, and then we go back up to these higher-up shelves with some Aladdin. East 4 Mask of the Sun, which has kind of the same gameplay as the PC Engine version, but a different story. ActRaiser, which actually just picked up an copy of ActRaiser on this day. Area 88, fantastic game, great shooter for your SNES or Super Famicom. One that I put in my video of the best SNES shooters. So there you go, aka UN Squadron. But yeah, I picked up my complete copy of ActRaiser today at YY Station. Actually got it for cheaper than what was available here at Surugaya, so that's cool. 8,800 on Super Variable Geo. Oh, Super! I dropped the gimmick, I didn't even know it. Super Variable Geo, that's right. Maids fighting, fist fighting in the street. Which if this was like more realistic, these maids would all work at Waffle House. And there'd be a lot more swearing involved, I think. Hair pulling and stuff. Here they're more like Street Fighter characters, like launching fireballs and kunai and things, doing wrestling moves. But yeah, cool. Cool game. Some girl on girl for you. If that's what you're into. Super Variable Geo has got you covered. What the hell else do we have here? Some Zinky, some Captain Tsubasa. I'm actually getting squished right here. We got Chrono Trigger, 3,900. I'm actually like blocking other people here, so we're gonna have a little edit. And there we go. A nice dissolve for you. Yeah, hey, there's my friend John on the other side. John, you're in the video. Actually, coincidentally ran into an old friend of mine this day. Some Super Dodgeball. Yeah, sometimes when I'm filming, but, you know, I try to be as discreet as possible. Gradius 3. Fantastic. One of my favorites of any game ever. I love Gradius 3. Yeah, sometimes when I'm filming, I try to be as non-obtrusive as I can be. And sometimes, if other people want to come and shop, I'm not like a jerk about it. Hey, there's a little tiny person in here. Oh my god. And she's grooving. She's getting funky. Yeah, I just put the camera down and go about my business, and then when the aisle opens up again, I'll come back. Twinbee Rainbow Bell Adventure, cool. Some Parodius, which I like a lot. 12,400 though. And there's a half-naked lady on it too. So you know it's good. Can't be a game with a half-naked lady on the box and it not be a total banger. We got some more cool stuff here. We got some Breath of Fire, Final Fight 2, Fighter's History, good stuff. Sailor Moon as puzzle something, I think. Or is it not? I don't know. That's great. You know, the insights. That's why people watch these videos. That's why I'm the #1 name in this game, is the insights that I offer. We got a glass case here with some very expensive stuff in it. Boxed Famicom and Super Famicom. I'm not going to name everything. I'm just going to let you guys browse. Down in the comments you can tell me. And we're being watched, by the way. We are being watched. So don't, you don't go to Surugaya and fuck around. You just don't do it, man. They're pretty serious. So yeah, you let me know what you saw that looked good to you. Some of this shit, wow, crazy expensive. Anyway, I feel like this has kind of run its course. So let's wrap this up. Let's get the hell out of here. All right, partner. So we're over here. We've been looking through a ton of games today. I see some stuff I definitely want. Prices are up. All right. You having some technological issues there, buddy?
It turned by itself.
It just wants to look at you. That's all it is.
It is.
So I'm going to grab a few things, go home and kind of do my little wrap-up thing. What about you?
I'm going to probably grab nothing from here. I'm going to go to Akihabara, look for some things, and then go to my hotel room and maybe cry.
You are so
the lack of games.
Enthusiastic today. I just love it. Yeah, because we got this case here. That's where all the heavy hitters are. That's really more for folks like you. That's not for folks like me. So I'll be buying from the commoners' shelves.
If they had the things on the commoner shelves, which also, it's a little weird because, like, the expensive games are supposed to be in here, right?
Yeah.
I saw a pretty expensive game just sitting on the shelf.
Some of these on the shelf can be a little bit high price.
So then what's their, like, determining factor of what goes in here and
Well,
what goes in
I
there?
don't know. Some of the stuff in that case is like $500 or more.
Yeah, but
so
one thing I saw on the shelf was like $100 and something, but then they have 60, like, it's like cheaper than that, and it's in there.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. Surugaya, you're a mystery. We have no idea what the fuck you're doing. But anyway, they got a shit ton of games, so let's grab a few and let's get the hell out of here because I'm getting hungry.
Hungry.
Go on, girl. Hey, parting words. I put you on the spot.
You did.
You're not a thinking on her feet kind of gal.
Dang. Well, I don't think I'm gonna get anything from here, honestly, but I'm glad you'll be able to find some stuff. And fingers crossed that I'll get some in the future, but this will not be the last you see of me.
All right, good. Yes, because we will carry on. We will live to hunt another day. All right, let's get some stuff, and then I'm gonna go home. All right. See you on the couch. Not you. Okay, so there you go. That was the Surugaya right there in Shinjuku. What'd you think? A lot of games in there, but some prices that were like a punch in the gut for some of them, and then some of them that were like shockingly pretty good. I even had some time to speak with the cashier as I was checking out. I was surprised to find out he spoke English. As soon as I walked up to the counter, he was speaking to me entirely in English. So obviously, they get a lot of English-speaking customers in there. We had a chance to chat a little bit, and I asked him, "Do you get a lot of English-speaking customers?" He says, "Yes, we do." And I was like, "Are a lot of them here, like, picking up lots of video games?" And he said, "Yes, they are." But of course, it's Surugaya, so you also pick up, I don't know, like trading cards, figures, and statues, and whatever else you want there. They've got a lot of anime-related merch. So I'm sure a lot of people go in there to pick that stuff up too. Anyway, Surugaya, what can you do? Locations vary, same as with Hard Off. Anyway, I did pick up some pretty cool games today though, and I do have 3 games here that I think were my best finds of the day. So let's take a look at these. First up, on the PS1, I got a copy of Detana Twinbee Deluxe Pack Yahoo! So yeah, Detonat Twinbee Yahoo Deluxe Pack. I think I said that backwards. Yeah, so what is this game? It features both Detonat Twinbee, which is the arcade Twinbee shooter, and then Yahoo, Twinbee Yahoo, which was the follow-up. And I think Detonat Twinbee, there were versions of it released, not on the Super Famicom, that was Poppin' Twinbee. I don't know, Detonat Twinbee, if it had a console release before the 32-bit games. Anyway, so it's the deluxe pack. It features both games. So you can play Detonat Twinbee, which is a lot of fun. And then you can play Twinbee Yahoo, which is the sequel, which I think is a better game. You know, obviously it has nicer graphics, it has really great sound design. And the gameplay is still super fun, playing with one player or co-op. And I do think that Yahoo, it has like a standalone Saturn and PS1 release, but this is obviously the better pickup because you get Yahoo and then you get Detonat as well. If you've never played a Twinbee game, really fun top-down shooters by Konami. You blast everything in front of you, you can drop little bombs on ground enemies, and then you pick up multicolored bells to give yourself all kinds of crazy power-ups. And it's super colorful, very upbeat, bright, cute 'em up, if you will, with some big boss battles and some cute little cutscenes in between each stage. So yeah, Twinbee games, I like them a lot. And Detonat Twinbee Yahoo Deluxe Pack, you're getting 2 games for the price of 1. So that's really cool. And the price, as it turns out today, was after tax 2,500 yen, which for this game is honestly not bad right now. This used to be like more of like I don't know, like a $10 game. It's gone up a little bit, but not so drastic. And then I do know someone in particular who's really gonna like getting that game. Next up, also oddly enough, all 3 of these pickups, all shoot 'em ups, by the way. So I guess I was in kind of a shoot 'em up mood today. On the PS2 though, we've got Shikigami no Shiro, or Castle of Shikigami, which is a great series of shooters. There's, I think, Castle Shikigami 2 just got a re-release on the Nintendo Switch, which I picked up several months ago and have been enjoying playing that again. So when I saw that the PS2 version, I wanted to snap this up because I do have some people waiting on some PS2 games, and in particular, I do know they like shooters. This one by Alpha System from 2001. Great game. If you've never played it, it's a top-down shooter. You have a whole bunch of characters to choose from. They all have like a standard shot type and then like a power shot. And you kill enemies, you collect coins and various power-ups. And each character has like a different like special power. So they're all useful like in various ways. So one of them might have like a great spread shot or like a great super bomb, but they're like weaker in some other aspect. One might have like homing attacks, while the other ones have an attack maybe that can just clear the entire screen in one big blast. So there's some variety here. It would expand in the sequels. There'd be additional characters thrown in, upgrades like graphics and sound and stuff. But generally speaking, every game in the series is really good. Alpha System always made solid games. Alpha System, they're kind of like an unsung hero from like the late 80s up into like the early 2000s. I do like pretty much anything I've ever played by Alpha System. So yeah, Shikigami no Shiro, Castle of Shikigami, great shoot 'em up. After tax, 2,100 yen on this, which is really nice. I'm gonna put the price up here, but if like my internal math is correct, that's like 14 bucks or something. So that's not bad for a PS2 shoot 'em up. A lot of those, they usually go for like a little bit more than that. And last, but certainly not least, I think this is my best find of the day, just in terms of like value, just getting a pretty good deal. This one was pretty surprising, but it is the original Death Smiles on the Xbox 360. And I am a big fan of the Death Smiles games. They're very fun. They're some of my favorite cave shooters, some of my favorite bullet hell games in general. If you haven't played it before, it's a side-scrolling bullet hell shooter where you play as these like young girls that were all living in like some sort of, I think they were living in like a care center together, and they all get transported to a demon world. And so at the end of it, you're like trying to open like a hole back to get back to the real world. So you got 4 playable characters in here. I think there are a couple more to unlock, but they each have different shot types. So in a similar vein to like pretty much any other shoot 'em up, you have like a rapid shot, and then you have a slower, like more concentrated shot that slows down your movement. You have super bombs. You can build up a power meter, and then when it reaches 100, you can go into like a super powered mode. And when you're in that mode, all point bonuses are like worth way more points. You can fire to the right or the left. Enemies come at you from all around. This game is mostly really memorable for like its visuals and just the aesthetics of it. It's a very like goth kind of look to it. So a lot of gloomy stages, a lot of like eerie monsters and other various creatures, and very cool boss battles, by the way. So it's a lot of fun. I think Death Smiles is one of the easier cave shooters ever made. Like if you were going to try to get into cave games and you wanted to find one that maybe would be okay for beginners, I think Death Smiles is it, because each stage you play in the arcade mode, they have like a level 1, a 2, 3, and so I think you can only choose each one a couple of times though. But you can choose like a lower difficulty level on each stage as much as you can to try to give yourself an easier time getting through the arcade mode. But this also has some other like additional gameplay modes as well. So yeah, there's plenty to do in here. Plus the graphics are just like fantastic. In the sequel, they went with some more like 3D graphics and things, which looked fine. But here, the strictly 2D assets, I think just look amazing. The art direction is really cool. Again, it has like a fun like goth look to it. Very unusual for a shoot 'em up. Not a lot of shooters really went for this. Most shooters, you're gonna get spaceships and lasers and stuff like that. You're usually not gonna get like little Baroque era girls from an orphanage flying around a demon world, destroying Grim Reapers and stuff. Hey, great game to play around Halloween anyway. So yeah, Death Smiles on the Xbox 360. I like this game a lot, always have, always a good time. It was recently re-released on modern consoles. It was put out by City Connection and bundled with the second game as well, and that's really cool. Some people don't care for the City Connection ports. They say they're too laggy. I think like their Switch port has like 6 frames of lag, which isn't, for me, I don't really find that noticeable. The Xbox 360 versions would have like 3 or 4, so it's not like a huge difference. But yeah, there it is. So you can pick up Death Smiles on a modern console. If you got a Switch, go ahead and pick up the Switch version. I honestly didn't find it to be like a big deal. But for some people, they just notice like the tiniest little bit of input lag. But this, my find of the day, primarily because one, it's a great game, obviously, but also a pretty good value. After tax, 1,600 yen on this thing, which is like great. It's like 10 bucks for Death Smiles on the 360. Any cave shooter on the 360 for that amount is like amazing. Like, in particular, when I find like the Dodonpachis or like Mushihime-sama, something like that, they're usually like in the $100 range. They're pretty, they're getting up there. But here, like 10 bucks for this, that ain't bad, especially considering this is region free. So anyone that's requesting 360 games, I can send this to them, no muss, no fuss. So that's really cool. So that's my favorite find of the day today, just because it's awesome, and that's one hell of a deal. Surprising from Surugaya, as a matter of fact. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this little game hunt. Let me know down in the comments of all the games you saw in this video, what would be the one that you would like to take home with you. I'd certainly like to know. Always good to hear from you. Also, thanks again to Destiny for joining me for another video. It's always fun. Anytime she comes to Tokyo, we'll make some time to hang out, go do a few things. Actually, earlier in the month, in October, I celebrated a birthday. So she came to celebrate with me and meet some of the crew, the Tokyo crew out here. So that was really cool. So thanks a lot, Destiny, for joining me. And thank you to all of you for watching. And while we're at it, liking and subscribing and all that cool stuff too. Greatly appreciated. And now I feel like I'm rambling. We're at the end of our rope, folks. So thanks for watching, and take care. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.